Hey guys, welcome back to the Simple Homestead. My name is Julie. Today I'm going to share 5 of my favorite things, and then at the end of the video I'm going to give you a update on how the Ranunculus are doing. In just a little bit, they are doing wonderful. I'm so excited, and I can't wait to share more about that here in a few minutes. Last night I went with my mom to her garden club meeting, and we were sharing some of our favorite things. She led our presentation with a hose link. A hose link is a retractable hose. They're also known for their fittings. My mom has the longer one, it's 82 feet. They have another one that's shorter and it's 50 feet. And each hose link comes with its own mounting bracket, spray nozzle, and the fittings that you would need to hook it up to your existing outdoor faucet. I don't personally have one. I've seen my mom and dad use theirs, and then my grandparents have one as well. And it is really neat to be able to just take it across the yard, and when you're done, it just wheels it up and you're just in this compact space. So maybe one of these days we'll get one for our garden. We'd probably have to have an extension because if anybody remembers, it's pretty large and it would take a lot more than 82 feet to probably get through the whole garden. The rest of the presentation, I shared a few of my favorite things. The first one that I shared was the garden weasel claw. It's my favorite. I really like every year when it's time to get out and start doing gardening stuff. It's one of the tools I make sure I grab. It's got 4 prongs. There's like 2 and then 2, and they have other ones that are like a pro and things like that, but mine's just the regular one. And it's real lightweight. You just push down, you give it a twist, and it's aerating and cultivating your soil that could be a little bit more compacted, especially after all winter and you live like in an area that's gets a lot of freezing and thawing and snow. It's really nice to just work the ground with that. The nice thing about the garden weasel claw is it's only 3 pounds, it's only about 38 inches, so it doesn't take up a lot of space. I found the best prices was Home Depot or like the local Ace hardware store. If you go to their website, it's about $20 to $30 more versus just going to a retailer like that to purchase it. The next topic I shared about was botanical interest seeds. I've been using botanical interest seeds for the last few years and had lots of success. I've had a really good germination rate, and I really love the additional information that they have. This is a company that started with 96 varieties. They've since grown their company to include over 600 different varieties of seeds, along with some additional growing things like you can buy biodegradable pots and along with like other things as well. Their seeds are definitely high quality, and you know that this is a company that's really devoted to making sure you get the best for your buck. In 2023, Epic Gardening, owned by Kevin, bought Botanical Interest Seeds. His goal is to help the whole world learn how to grow. About 10 years ago, he was very much into the video game side of things, and he was in his early 20s and decided he was kind of done with that and wanted to do something else. So he started gardening with his brother. His first packet of seeds that he bought to grow was a packet of cucumber seeds from Botanical Interest. First package of seeds didn't turn out to be very good. He got the bug for gardening and has continued, and that is what he's doing to this day, is growing his presence and showing other people how to garden and different ways to do things, so that not only our small community can learn how to do things, but hopefully the whole world can learn how to grow things. The next item up that we talked about was the Green Stalk Garden Tower. If you're not aware of what a green stalk is, it's a family-based company out of Tennessee, and they grow gardening towers. There's 2 different options. I have the original, and I've had it for 3 years now. This is my 4th growing season with it, and my mom has the leaf. My mom has hers on the swivels that they offer through the company. My husband kind of put swivels on for me, so it has got me from point A to point B, but hers makes it a little bit easier to maneuver. My mom keeps hers in her heated walk-in room, like it's like a little sunroom, and she still has very pretty and green parsley and different herbs that have overwintered really well for her. And hers is the leaf, and it's smaller, so she gets smaller pockets. They're about 7 inches deep, and she has 42 pockets on hers because it's a 7-tier because the pockets being smaller. It still ends up being about the same size as mine, which is the original. Mine just has 5 layers, which results in 30 pockets that are about 10 inches deep. The thing with mine is I can grow root vegetables in it a little bit easier than hers would. She'd still be able to, just they wouldn't have as much room to grow, and it would if you wanted to get the same amount of like red beets out of mine versus her, you'd probably have to grow in like a 2-to-1 ratio to get the same amount of red beets. But overall, she's really happy with hers. She likes being able to stick different flowers and herbs in hers. I've done cucumbers and peas and root vegetables and lettuces and kales, Swiss chard, different things like that. This last year I put strawberries in it, and I did notice there's still some green to them. So I'm excited to see how that goes. Each layer has its own individual watering system that goes off of the top. So you water and it's got little holes around the top and it waters down. Each layer has its own container to disperse that water. When you first put dirt in it, you do want to still water each pocket individually, but the goal behind this is once everything's established and you keep things watered so it doesn't get too dry, that watering system in place at the top that goes through the whole stack of, that goes through your entire tower, is supposed to be enough to keep things hydrated. I've been known to let my stuff get too dry and still have to water each pocket. It doesn't take that long, and it's offered me 30 pockets of growing food that doesn't take up as much space. The last thing in my top 5 things I think is really cool pieces to add to your garden is books. I think having a hard copy of a book is very valuable, especially in the age that we live in. Right now, we have all the information we could ever want at our fingertips, but if that was to go down, what are you going to do? You kind of need to have a few hard copies available. Whether you have books that are mass produced or you found somebody through social media that you really trust and believe in what they're saying. Oftentimes, if you're following somebody like on Instagram or on YouTube, they have downloadables that you can print out and put in a binder and save for future reference. That being said, I have an ebook coming out. I started working on it in the summer of 2022 when I was spending a lot of time sitting in Nursing Marshall. I just spent a lot of time just typing up things that were on my mind and on my heart, and it just flowed. It just happened so easily that I really feel like this is something that God wanted me to do. Things that don't align with what God really has in planned for us, I find it to be very hard to do and I find it very hard to do and to finish that project, where this one, it just happened so easily, and I filled up over 120 pages of pictures and information and recipes to share with you all. The book is broke down into 4 sections. Each section I've tried to share a why. Why is it important to cook your meat with the bones in it? Well, you get so much more micronutrients, and the collagen that you get from it is so beneficial for our bodies to help heal it and to keep it functioning. So that's one reason we raise our chickens, so I can have the bones and cook the meat all together, and we can get that nutrients in our food to help nourish our bodies and rebuild it, because we are constantly putting stress on it, and you got to find ways to put nutrients back in you to keep you going, so that in the long run you don't end up with falling off the deep end with something a lot worse. I also share my favorite bread recipes, a few baking things that we do, some of the breakfast things we have. Like Bo's went through phases where he's made mass amounts of pancakes and we froze them, and so I talk about the different grains, why it's important to use an unbleached grain, and organic is best, especially when it comes to like rice, because it can be so full of chemicals in the way that it is produced, and just different things that I don't think people talk about enough in our food. And then we often wonder why things are going the way it is. We're not feeding it with the most richest and nutrient-based things that we possibly could. The second section is about bath products. I've included how I make my salves, bath salts, lip balm, and I've also included a melt and pour soap recipe. I want to do soap with lye, but with our littles, I've decided that this melt and pour works just as well, and I can get what I want out of it for this time. When my kids get a little bit older, I think I'll dabble in the lye soap for our family. I've tried to do it and sell it. It just ends up being something that's more of a time-consuming thing for me at this point, and so I'm not selling any, but I know how to make it, and I think it's wise to share that information with you guys. And then like for the bath salts, I have like the why I would make bath salts this way. Well, the magnesium that's in the salts and different things that the herbs that you add into it, that your body's going to be able to absorb and get a benefit from. So that's in that section. The next section is about gardening. I've tried to put in different things about like microgreens and winter gardening, starting seeds, just different things that I've learned over the last several years, and thought, you know, if somebody's never grown a microgreen and wants to know what the difference is between that and just having a salad, well, here's a little bit of information. The whole purpose of this book is to give you some thoughts, give you something to think about, chew on a little bit, and then go deeper into it. I am not registered as a dietitian, or I've not got any formal education. I do have, I did do college, so I do have some education, especially because I was in the nursing field for a little while, but I don't have actual degrees in that. This is just my knowledge of things that I've looked up, I've learned over the years, and I find very valuable to us and would love to share with everybody. The final section of my book is about community. It's a short section, but it's enough that I think people should get thinking. I think our generation's so used to just popping on the phone and going through social media and be like, oh, I've seen this, this, and this, and I don't need to go check in on nobody, or I don't need to go join a garden club, when really we need that community. Even if it's not something you do every day, but it's like once a week or once a month, it helps build you up and helps build other people up as well, and which is really what we need. We need other people to be by our side to help encourage us and to keep us moving in the right direction. This book is going to be available for download starting next Friday, February 23rd, and Lord willing, that's the plan for that. And I would love to have hard copies. I'm hoping to meet with somebody in town that does the spiral bounding. If you were to have like a family cookbook, you'd have that spiral, and that's kind of how this is going to be set up. I don't really want to charge like 40 and 50 bucks for a book. I want it to be like a reasonable price for everybody that would like to have a hard copy of it. So as soon as I get those things figured out, I'll share more about that in the future. That wraps up my 5 favorite things for the garden this year. If you've stuck with me this long, the pictures of Ranunculus are coming up right now. I started these last week. I'll put the video link in the description so you can watch it if you missed it. And I'm so excited for them to work out, and they look like they've all sprouted, and I'm going to do the exact same thing with the anemones. The only difference is their shape's a little bit different, but I still have to soak them, and they're still going to go in a tray. And then after I see that most of it has sprouted, then I'll turn a light on that I have on our shelves downstairs to help them finish going. I'm hoping to get the hoop house cleaned out next. That's on my list of things I need to get done because I didn't get it done over the fall. And then I should be able to get those out here my goal is to have them out in the hoop house by St. Patrick's Day. So we'll see how that goes. But those are goals. And that's part of it, making goals and seeing if you can get to them. All right, guys. Well, until next time, I hope you have a good weekend and go out there and grow something beautiful, friends. Bye now.